Welcome to a special episode of Coffee in the Barn, where we discuss exclusive content featuring our captivating guest speakers. Today, prepare to be enthralled as we dive deep into the minds and hearts of our extraordinary guests. From pioneer figures in the world of agriculture to trailblazers pushing the boundaries of innovation, each speaker brings a unique perspective and a wealth of insight to share. So grab your coffee and settle in to learn more about our incredible guests. Welcome to this episode of exclusive content of how Casey and I stay organized as working moms. And one of those key things that I do, I would say, on a daily and weekly basis is make lots of lists. I use sticky notes. I use the notes app in my phone. I use random scratch paper that's around the house. My husband likes to make fun of me all the time by making lists, but if he wouldn't know everything that's in my brain and how many things I'm trying to organize and keep track of, moms have a lot more things going on in their minds than just like, what am I going to make for breakfast?
Well, and I just used a good example of a list, and I didn't write it out, and I want to get a big fancy board for this, so my husband and I are on the same page on dinner. I had dinner all mapped out in my head, because if I don't, and I leave it up to last minute, or my husband, because he does a lot of the cooking, he likes to cook, and he goes to work early, so he has dinner ready by 5:15, usually for us most days, because he's leaving for work at 5:30. But it's not only going to the grocery store in the right way to do it, but it just makes it easier. Like, what are we going to eat? Well, no, it's already in the crock pot. It's what you're going to eat. Like, you just need to turn it into enchiladas. And so just planning that out. And there's one thing on meal prep, because Morgan's talked about meal prep too a lot. I use an app called Limey, and there's several different apps out there. But basically, I pay $60 a year. I get the premium recipes we can go through on Sundays, and it creates your grocery list. So we just go through, oh, yeah, we have that in the pantry, or, oh, we have that in the fridge. We don't need that. And it can even send it to Walmart pickup. So nice. If you need something that extreme, that is a tool I use. But I think also the family boards work really well. You mentioned something I thought's pretty cool that I think now that Arthur's getting involved in a lot more stuff, and I need to teach my husband maybe how to have calendars that talk to each other. You have physical calendars, right?
Yeah, so I have a board that is just a monthly board next to the fridge that I have, everyone's color-coded. So I have, like, my husband's work schedule, my work schedule when I'm going to be out of town, when our daughter has preschool, any other, like, family activities going on in the weekends or whatever. Everything is color-coordinated. And that is just kind of our monthly schedule, kind of at a glance. And then I have a magnetic notepad on the fridge that when I do meal prep, I have just a list of all of the meals, like readily available meals that we have in the house. So of all the ingredients that we have in the house, we can make these 6 or 7 meals. And so I'm not necessarily meal planning like this day we're eating this, but I at least know like we have all the ingredients in the house to make spaghetti or whatnot. And I also use an app called Supercook, and I think there's a paid version, but I don't pay for it. But you can just input what ingredients you have, and then it will just give you recipe suggestions for the ingredients that you have on hand. So if for some reason I'm just trying to use up stuff that's in the pantry or in the freezer, but I don't necessarily know what to make with it, I'll just put the ingredients in the app and say, okay, find me a recipe that I can make with these 5 or 6 ingredients. And it comes in pretty handy sometimes.
Oh, I'm going to have to try that. Because I have plenty of pantry and freezer stuff that we could use up. But I was going to say, Todd, I'm going to give a shout out to Todd Thurman, and he's in a swine professional as well. He shared something because he talks a lot about agriculture and social economic things, in his posts on LinkedIn, and I'm an avid follower of Todd, and I appreciate his thought leadership. But he put something cool that his family does is they have like a shared notes section on their phone of leftovers. And so they don't have as much food waste because they go through in there, they have what it is and how many servings are in there. And I thought that was a really great idea as animal agriculture, special, being involved to help with food waste. And I put a comment on it that my husband's not a big leftover fan, but now that I'm, working in the office more, I actually put some of those in single serving bowls. So it's just, I don't have to think about it in the morning. I just grab that container and go. But if I have to think about it in the morning that I have to take that out and put it in another dish, it's difficult for me. So I have a lot of bowls in this is not on a list, but this is how I manage my food in meal prep, is I have split bowls. So I buy a lot of the containers that have 2 compartments in one. So I thought that was great that he had a list that his family shares on leftovers. We were talking about lists on meal prep. Like my husband and I have that app on the phone, so it's not like I'm making the meal for the week and he doesn't see the grocery list.
No, that's super helpful. And I mean, half the time, I go to the grocery store and, I buy the staple things we need. I'll do like a big grocery haul, like once a month with all the, staple ingredients that we need, or, just the fruits and vegetables, the common things we always have in the fridge. But on like weeks when I'm traveling for multiple days, I'll come home and my husband has gone to the grocery store and I'm like, what did you buy? I thought we bought everything we needed. And he's like, oh, well, I needed this and this and this. And I was like, I literally asked you before I went to the grocery store what you wanted me to buy. And he literally just put candy cane, candy corn, what's the next one? And syrup. I said, add what you want to the grocery list. And he added all the things that Will Ferrell wants as Elf. What is the 4th thing? Candy cane, candy corn.
Syrup, I don't know.
There's 4 things.
I'm not a Will Ferrell fan.
I need to look it up now.
I was going to say, while she's looking that up, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to how does a entrepreneur, business owner, executive keep track of things at work? Well, obviously, all my employees have access to my calendar, so there's no surprises. I don't hide things. If I have something personal and you need to know I'm going to the gynecologist, I really don't care how personal it is because that's just me, right? It's just part of life. And so I have it very color coordinated, like you do with the people on your calendar. Like business meetings are red. Like you don't touch red. And personal things are pink. I have 2 different colors of green. One's for travel, one's for podcasts, something like that. I have different colors for everything. And so at a glance, I can come in and look at my calendar when I'm getting ready to start on Sundays and be like, oh, I am really project focused this week. I got a lot of time to get these project work done because that's how I get paid. If I don't make the deliverables, I don't get paid by my clients. It's just the world we live in. But we're also going into saying what we're doing better as a team is, so now we're specifically setting times that we allow things on our calendar. So like new business calls are only Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Client calls are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that way we can balance our time and know, because we want to prioritize our paid clients on Monday and Friday because that's when oops come up, right? Or last minute things. So we leave that time open for them. And then like new business, I have specific times. So if you're in technical sales, I'm sorry, I just had to add an hour to my time every day, Tuesday through Wednesday, that I have a dedicated hour on my calendar that says I'm going to reach out and make phone calls, emails, text messages to new business or business, right? Cold calling, basically. So I have that on my calendar now. Like That's not going to be touched. I have to have an hour. And by the way, that hour is not first thing in the morning and it's not the last thing in the afternoon. Because why? Not because that might be convenient for me, but because that is not probably the opportune time I'm going to reach somebody in the business world.
Finish your thought, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, so that's the digital version of me. I still have hundreds of sticky notes everywhere. Like, I'm sorry, that's the one true thing from sustainability that will be hard for me to get rid of is paper and sticky notes.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I probably have the same thing written on the same the same list of to-do things, and so I make lots of lists, except I need to make new lists every single time I get things crossed off. And so, like, I have my to-do list from last week and like 5 out of the 10 things got crossed off. I'm not going to just use that list. I have to make a new one that has just the thing that weren't crossed off.
But I think the way I learned how to do it, it actually came from Brad James, was my first boss after my PhD, and I had to give him a weekly report of everything I worked on. Mm-hmm. And so it was just like a call note. It was just like a log. And then I had on the bottom a list of things I had to do, right? Or upcoming for next week. And that really trained me of having a list to say, oh, look at what I've actually done. Look at what I have coming up. And if I would have had the foresight back then, we could have been doing data analytics to see how much I was really spending my time and importance. But yeah, I have that list. And that's where, a digital list comes in handy because then you can just move it. But
yeah, we have monthly reports that we have to put together every single month on, sales things that we worked on or customer interactions or some challenges that we have. So we have monthly reports that we have to put together every month. But then one of my colleagues suggested just like printing out like a Word document that has, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all blocked off with the date, and then just like fill in the things that you need to do on those days. And so that's what I use as my list is, I have the tasks I need to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with meetings included. And then if I have them completed, I cross them off. If I didn't get them done and I need to move them to next week, I circle them or I'll put a check mark next to them. So there's different ways that I'll tell myself whether the project got done or not or need follow-up. But on the digital calendar side of things, I've learned, and I need to change it, that in Teams or in Outlook, there's a way that you can just automatically accept calendar invites with as soon as somebody sends it to you, if it fits in your schedule. And I've learned that I was like, okay, great, like less emails I have to see. Except because I don't see the invite and it just automatically goes to my calendar, I need to visually see it to know that I have it on my calendar. And so there's been like, over the last couple of weeks, like a handful of times where the only way I know that the meeting has started is because the little window pops up saying, so-and-so has started your meeting, or someone going, oh, are you going to be on the 10 o'clock call? And then I go look at my calendar and then I'm like, oh yeah, I have a call. I didn't even know I had it because it automatically accepted it. So I need to fix that.
I was going to say my AI, I'm probably going to get rid of it because I've been trying out a lot of different AI apps, and I really would like to try out Motion to where the AI people just organize your calendar, but I've never liked that. I've always liked to have buffer time in my calendar as an animal nutritionist because you just never know what phone call you're going to get. And I just learned from early on in my career I had to have a buffer, right? And so it's kind of scary to give a robot to just plan every minute out because that's not how I work. But my AI bot starts my meetings 4 minutes early, and he saved me tons from being late to a meeting that I scheduled because when I'm in like project work and my zone of writing or my zone of genius, as I call it, I will go 15 minutes and blow through a meeting. And so we've tried out different project management tools as a team as well. The best one so far that seems to be working for us because it's just really easy and I don't have to put fancy stuff in is we've been using Trello. So you can get Trello for free. You can make your own boards and tasks. And we have priority. We have, doing, done, and then you can archive it. And so that's been really helpful. And I think you can really integrate a lot of tools, but I would say no matter what list you have, ask yourself, do I need this list? Am I going to use this list? And is it helpful versus distracting?
And one thing that's helped me, and I saw this on a TED Talk a while ago, I can't remember who the speaker was, but she was talking about how when you go into like an ER, they tag patients as red, yellow, or green. So red is like immediate assistance, yellow is intermediate, and green is like not life-threatening, like they can wait. And so being able to triage my priorities as red, yellow, and green has helped me, and that's how I organize them on my to-do list, is like, okay, the main top priorities of like what I absolutely have to get done go at the top, and then I draw a line, and then in the middle, is my, if I have time, great, these things also need to get done, and then in the green is like, okay, if I have an extra hour, I'll try to get these things done. And one thing that's also been, I love just checking things off of lists, and I found that I always default to the easiest tasks first, or the things that I can get done the quickest, so that I can check them all off, and then I leave like the big projects or the things that are going to take me a lot longer last. And I'm trying to do the opposite of that.
Like priority versus like speed.
Yeah. And so because there's just some things that you have to do, but you just like put off doing because you don't want to do it. And
that's nice about being my own business owner. I'm learning to delegate some of that stuff.
Yeah, so there's not many tasks that I have to do that I'm just like, eh. But like, there's some that happen, and everyone has those things. I mean, you have those on your day-to-day, like, who wants to fold laundry?
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'll grocery shop and put all the groceries away because I love, like, the satisfaction of, like, filling my fridge, and then, just food just makes me happy. But then, like, I'll run a load of laundry and then I'll forget that I need to put it in the dryer.
Well, I was going to say, in my business thing is a good example of, so I'm a service provider for DSM's VERAX program. So I basically get to drive around their big van with all their lab equipment, and I set up a portable lab and I run blood analytics for them. And that's what we do as a service. And I like that job because I don't have to think about it. You have to think about it. You got to be organized, right? It's not thoughtless, but like afterwards, I do all the inventory, I do the repackaging, I do all of that, and I'd be better off paying somebody an hourly rate. And I had an assistant for a bit that could have done that. I choose to do it because it's also something that is not on the computer. So even though it's not worth the money for me to do it, I'm better off paying somebody to do it. But like you said, it's that satisfaction, it's satisfying that need that you have, but it also gives me that break from staring at somebody on a screen or typing all day. And so I caution you when you're planning that, you need to have some of that stuff that's easy in your workload, because that gives you the satisfaction that I check that off versus like, talking through like, oh, I know these are all the high priorities. They are. But I also caution you to put those lower priority things in between some of those tough jobs. So you get that feeling, right, that you accomplished something today and it's an instant result.
Yeah.
So on your list, yes, prioritize, but I also use that work example I have because instantly my boxes are already in the van's packed for the next thing. I'm ready to go. And that was a win. Or if I spent 2 hours writing a proposal for a new project with a client, it's maybe a 50-50 chance that I get that job and it's delayed gratification. I don't see that money in my bank account until, maybe if it's a research trial, 6 months later. So that is where I also caution you on that list that you do need to put some of those easy things in between your hard things, or you can burn yourself out.
Yeah. I've also learned that, and I think it's more just because of how much busier I'm getting, that it is okay to take a break. Like I'm very much like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to grind out and I'm going to get all these things done. And I'm like, now that it's getting nice, probably more because it's getting nicer out, it's like, I'm going to take 20 minutes and take the dogs for a walk. Or what was it? Thursday, I was traveling for work and I was traveling home and then I had a meeting right when I got home. Except I knew when I got home, Garrett and the kids were going to be home. And so it was going to be really hard for me to just pull in the driveway, disregard everyone that was at the house because I've been gone for the last 2 days, and then, go to my computer and log on to a meeting. And so, I was only going to be 5-10 minutes late. So I just texted them saying, I'm going to be 5-10 minutes late, knowing that as soon as I pulled in the driveway, everyone was going to want to see me because I've been gone. And I kicked the ball around with my daughter for 2 minutes. And, I just explained to her, I was like, I have a meeting right now, but can you choose something for us to do after I'm done so that we can spend some time together? And then I completely checked out after the meeting. Hence why I missed our first initial rendezvous. But I've learned that, I shouldn't say I've learned. I'm allowing myself to take that 5-10 minutes.
Yourself grace.
Yes, I'm giving myself the 5-10 minutes of, just the priority of things is I've been gone for 2 days. My kids have missed me. They just need that connection for a couple minutes to fill their cup because they miss mom, and then they'll be okay.
Well, I think we've kind of went through a few tangents on lists, but it goes into priorities. However you want to list it out, however you want to communicate that to either your family, your coworkers, your subordinates, if you're a manager, has to work, right? For you. Yeah. There's no magic tool. There's no magic app you can buy. It's great marketing that I saved 2 hours and I got a promotion by using this app for 30 cents a day.
But don't be afraid to change things up if things aren't working.
Yeah. We're here to evolve and adapt. The ones who don't become extinct, like the dinosaurs. Which to me, the dinosaurs aren't really extinct. They're just chickens now. They adapt.
What?
Or I want to be a unicorn. A mythical creature.
Well, I just have to add, the 4 main food groups are candy cane, candy corn, and syrup. I'll cut that in.
All right. Well, that's important. The Will Ferrell 4 main food groups. We're going to discuss that on our next nutritional series. Well, that is it for this exclusive content on lists, and lists.